In this video we will review solid gold Hamilton Custer watch from 1930s, and we will also talk about why these pre-war Hamiltons are cool, like what's so cool about them. So keep watching. So let's start with what's so important about American watches from that time period, like 20s, 30s, early 40s. This like pre-war period. So this was considered that was like a golden age of American watchmaking. So at that time, people, like at least in US, they wanted to wear, like if they could afford, they wanted to wear an American watch. Like people look down at Swiss. So at that time, like if you would say, oh, I bought myself like a cool Swiss watch, right? People would think like for example, today you would say, oh, I bought myself a cool Chinese watch. People would be like, what? Like, what's so cool about this? This is right. So that's how people look down at Swiss watchmaking during pre-war period. So at that time, for example, like you think Patek is a cool brand, right? At that time, Patek had like very big difficulty selling in US because it was a Swiss brand. So they actually were selling with these jewelry store, like you heard about double signed Patek, like Tiffany and Patek, right? At that time they were selling it just said Tiffany. There was no Patek, right? Because people knew, oh, Tiffany is a good American brand. Oh, maybe I got myself a good American watch called Tiffany, right? Like Patek wasn't a good, like not just Patek, like Swiss wasn't cool in watches. People wanted American watches. American was considered solid quality, and that was prestigious. People wanted that. And now if we are talking about American, then Hamilton was a top American brand. So there were like Elgin, Waltham for like everyday man, there was Bulova, but if you wanted a top, the most expensive, the highest quality brand, that was Hamilton. And now if we look at Hamilton catalog, right? So, and if we select only solid gold models from the catalog, so let's take catalog from 1936, right? Then these are the top models of the top brand of American watchmaking. Hamilton at that time, it was crazy. It was like the most American watch you can imagine, right? So it wasn't just they had American movement. Definitely they had in-house American movement made by Hamilton, right? But they had like American cases and so on. It was assembled in US, but they did everything themselves. And in US, for example, they did crazy things, like they obviously hairsprings were made by Hamilton, mainsprings were made by Hamilton, rubies were made by Hamilton, oils were made by Hamilton. So this is like the most American, like fully 100% American watch you can imagine. It's not like what Swiss are making now, like Swiss made, it's something like 51% Swiss or like 60% Swiss. No, that was like fully 100% American made watch, even like oiled with American oils. It's like absolutely crazy. Now in terms of the quality, like they did not spare, like at least Hamilton, because it was a top brand, right? They did not spare any costs. So like that dial, that's crazy. That's like absolutely crazy how they did this dial. So this is a solid silver dial engraved, and after that filled with enamel. After that enamel was just absolutely crazy. So see, you want to see my video over here just about that dial. It will be very long to explain, but yeah, watch this video. Like you will be shocked how they made this dial and how high quality it is. Now in terms of movement, so in this watch there is Hamilton's legendary 982 movement. So this is one of the most legendary Hamilton's movements. So they like to get this movement, they actually bought the whole company. They bought the whole company called Howard Boston that was making watches. So they bought it just to get this high quality movement, and the movement was so good that you know how Grand Seiko is putting these solid gold medallions at the back of the watches. Sometime later Hamilton actually started putting these solid gold medallions on the movement where like nobody can see them, but the movement is like such a high quality movement. It had a solid gold medallion on the movement. this is just like absolutely amazing. Okay, so now let's talk specifics about like now we know that American watches from that time, specifically solid gold Hamiltons, are cool. Now let's move to this Custer. So Custer is in some way, so what's unique about Custer, actually two things. So it's a relatively rare watch because it was made only during 2 years, and also what's rare about Custer is it's the only watch with 982 movement which still has Breguet numerals. So Hamilton moved to these other more like Art Deco numerals, but this one still has solid 18K Breguet numerals. Which is cool. It's a tank which is very typical for that period. American watches were pretty much rectangular watches, so that's what people wore at that time. That was like very American at that time. So now how does it wear? So like there is no escaping. It's a dress watch. Dress watches now it's a little bit challenging to wear, but still so for example, you don't need to dress very formally to wear this watch. So see, like I'm just wearing short, and I would be fine if I would wear, for example, jeans or something like that. Obviously you cannot wear this solid gold watch if you are, for example, I tried wearing t-shirt, and this in my opinion doesn't look good. Like you can try it, like you would want something kind of like with a collar. Also jeans are absolutely fine, but maybe shorts, no. Like this and shorts probably not. In my opinion, it's not a small watch. You kind of like can see me wearing it, right? Like would you say this watch is too small for me? Probably not. But keep in mind that my wrist is slightly smaller than average, so my wrist is 6.25 inch wrist. So kind of you can get an idea. So now let's talk about the sizes. This is a 24 millimeters wide watch. It takes 5/8 strap, which is like at that time they used these like weird imperial sizes, but 5/8 it's about 16 millimeters strap, and lug to lug is 38.5 millimeters. So like the only thing, so I do not feel like this watch is small, but if it would be 18 millimeters strap, I feel like it would be perfect. Now I can still wear 16 millimeter straps, like again, like you see me wearing it right now, so that's how it looks, right? This doesn't look bad, but I would feel like 18 millimeters would be just perfect. Now this watch is 8 millimeters thick, and it's a little bit curved, so that's kind of cool, but keep that in mind. It's a little bit curved 8 millimeters thick. Now there is one thing, that this watch is not waterproof for some reason at that time. So the early waterproofing technology already like it was there, it kind of started appearing, but people did not understand that this is somehow important. So Hamilton did not make like any of their watches at that period waterproof, not because they wanted to make it cheaper or anything like that. That's not the company. At that time, that company would not spare any expenses. Like they would do anything, the highest quality, the most expensive what they can even make, but they did not feel like waterproofing was important, and now we understand that waterproofing is important. So that's kind of like negative, but yeah, I absolutely like this, love this watch. given this, so now you know all the negatives and all the limitations. The cool thing, so right now everybody wants these like stupid steel sports watches and also Rolexes. People forgot about American watchmakers. People don't like solid gold that much. So the good thing about these watches is if you take American watch, solid gold American watches from that period, they kind of like sell a little bit higher than the melt price. Basically the price of the gold, that a lot of them are actually melted. So Hamilton, it's a top brand, it sells higher than kind of, let's say, like solid gold Bulova or solid gold Elgin, but still, like, given for what it is, like the prices are still very, very low. Yeah, I highly recommend not just this watch but any solid gold American watches, especially Hamiltons. This is, so you're pretty much getting Patek quality watch for a little bit more than price of the melt. So yeah, anybody needs solid gold American watch in my opinion. So if you like vintage watches, press over here. This is not, I have plenty of videos. Check out my channel and subscribe. Yeah, and then like. Okay, so thank you for watching. Bye.